Okay, welcome to the Downers Grove Township public hearing for the 2022-23 budget. The amendment to it, I'm calling the meeting to order. Lorraine, would you call roll?
Okay. Trustee Stoll?
Present.
Trustee Okram?
Present.
Trustee Riccardotti?
Present.
And Supervisor Coltrane?
Present. And we have a quorum. Next up, I have a motion to waive the clerk's reading of the public notice. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
A second.
And with that, any discussion? Lorraine, would you call roll?
Okay. Trustee Stoll?
Here.
No, yes or no?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. Thank you.
Trustee Okram?
Aye.
And Trustee Riccardotti?
Aye.
Supervisor Coltrane?
Motion to waive. All right, so the fund presentation. Welcome to the public hearing for the 2022-23 budget amendment. Recently, the township received $175,000 in ARPA funds for the Downers Grove area fish from DuPage County. These funds are federal funds for COVID relief. Under the terms of this agreement, Fish is able to recover expenses dated back to March 2021. To do so, Fish must send the township all eligible receipts and fill out an Excel spreadsheet explaining the use of the funds. At that point, we will forward the receipts and spreadsheets to the county for approval. Once approved, we forward the money to Fish. The reason for tonight's meeting is that we did not have a line item for the expenses listed in the current budget. So with that, I believe, Carol, you wanted to say something?
Yes, I just wanted to say that it was very easy to find the agenda for this meeting. It took me 15 minutes to find the agenda for the next meeting, and I never did find the budget online. I don't know that it wasn't there, but I couldn't find it. So thank you for the explanation of why this is going on. I appreciate that.
Can I respond to that?
Sure.
The budget was under the transparency page under the budget. Yeah, and it's also dated 12/19.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
Okay.
But
I mean, I looked there.
for our new budget coming up, it will be out on the front page.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And with that, do we have any questions? Okay. With that, I will close the hearing because we will vote on this in the next meeting. So, do I hear a motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Second? Second. And can we just do a voice vote on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And that has been approved. Next up is our general meeting. I'm going to call the order to the January 19th, 2023 Downers Grove Township meeting of the Township Board of Trustees. Let's first up rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. With that, Lorraine, would you call roll?
Okay. Trustee Riccardotti?
Here.
Trustee Stoll?
Here.
Trustee Okram?
Here.
Supervisor Coltrane?
Here, and we have a quorum. We are going to move public comment down one, and now we have a special presentation. Jeff Grant, who is a teacher at Downers Grove North, is going to give a little bit of a presentation about what is new out front of our building.
Yeah.
Jeff?
Thanks. So, stand back here. So I just wanted to kind of give you an update of where the prairie is. So if you don't remember, just out front here, in front of the food pantry section, we have put in a experimental prairie. That's the terminology for it. And the whole purpose of it is to provide an outdoor classroom for our students at Downers Grove North, with future focus that maybe we can bring, and I'll talk about this, Herrick into the fold since they're so close. So perspective and background. Right now, AP Bio, this is an integral part of our class. So in the first week of school, we take all the students over to Morton Arboretum, and away from public eye. They do a lot of science there, if you don't know that. And one of the things that they do is they have a gigantic version of the mini one that we have here. And scientists from all over the nation come to that prairie to conduct research, collect data, and publish a wealth of knowledge to the scientific community. Having connections to Morton Arboretum, we have talked with them and tried to create a small representation of that so that our students can get a feel of what real science looks like and conduct their own experiments. So this picture was taken just this beginning of the school year. So you can see the pictures in the foreground. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. So this really pairs into the curriculum that we're teaching right now. So kids come to the prairie and they observe for their first experiments and whatnot. It's pollinators that are being seen at the site, soil quality, the diversity of plants that are there compared to what is considered a monoculture of just regular grass that is common all throughout their community. And we're also seeing freshman bio classes coming in and doing a lot of it's called symbiotic relationship looking, so the mutualisms of bees and butterflies and things like that with natural environments. So not to the extreme of what AP Bio is, which if you don't know perspective of AP Bio, it's college biology in a high school setting. And so what I have done with Dr. Andrew Hipp over at the Morton Arboretum is help scaffold these kids into creating their own experiments all throughout the whole first semester. So this, like I said, sets the tone for them to see how can you set up an experiment, and obviously they're going to do these experiments in the classroom. So I buy about $180 worth of native seed from a nursery that's just north of us in Minnesota, and then the kids get to choose the species that they want to grow, what their experiments are, and then they collect data, and then they have to present these findings at the end of the semester, so in December. So I'll kind of give you a look at that. Of the other biology classes that are in the school are looking at it from an ecological perspective, like I said, with pollinators. And then we have a AP Environmental Studies class, that's shorthand APES. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. They're looking at it from a restored land versus monocultures. And after the soil, I don't know if you know that the soil evolves as well in a lot of native areas. So the soil horizons are already starting to change just over a year or so. So I said take note of how this picture looks right here, because this is just this August, September. You can see a lot of yellow, because yellow tends to be more the common or prevalent colors that we see in the fall. I don't know if you drove through prairies before in the fall compared to the summer. A lot of goldenrod looking colors and things like that. In the middle of the summer you would have saw, if you didn't, a lot of coneflowers and purples and reds that are in there as well. But the reason I say take note of this is because that is what it looks like just a year before. So things have changed dramatically in a very good fashion. So this was in the spring of 2021. We got a grant from the Illinois Department of Natural Resources for about 800, 900 plant plugs. So those are plants that have been grown for a year or so to be put into a couple of these quads that are there. And for perspective, we have 10 out there right now, where the first two, so I call them plots that we cut. So the eastmost plots were seed-grown plants in the classroom. So kids grew those from around now, right? So in the January, February time period, all the way out till spring, and then they put those into the first two plots, and then hand broadcast seed to supplement. So those are their first two, if you get a chance to go look at those. And then the next four were part of that Illinois Department of Natural Resources grant, so that's what you see the kids doing in the other four. And then what's hard to see is that there's other ones back there that hadn't even been tilled yet. I did that during the summer of 2021. And then that's what the kids are going to be planting this spring, because we just wrote a grant. They accepted it for $800 more plants for this upcoming spring. So the kids that were doing the research in class are actually going to be planting into those last four. So we'll have 10 plots that will show what's called succession, so the change in ecosystems over time. So you'll have plots that are made this way that are 2 years old. You'll have plots that are this way that are a year old, and you'll have ones that are brand new. So the public can see and students can see how things can change over time, and that this is a long process to establish a really good, hardy community, right? Multiple species all interacting together. So, for a deeper dive into, not super deep because I want to move my time here with you, is that in the classroom the kids are developing much better research projects over the last couple of years and understanding how real science works. As opposed to cookie cutter memorizing types of science, we're trying to move away from that. We're trying to provide critical thinking skills for the kids and then designing their experiment where there isn't a set outcome. They are collecting the data. They are interpreting the data. That's how real science works. And it's messy and it's sometimes not good, right? In their perspective, like, I'm not failing on this, but that's good, right? Science should be about that falling down and standing back up type of stuff. So they present in December, I kind of alluded to this, poster presentation. So in the scientific community, if you don't know, oftentimes if you go to a symposium, you present your research in what's called a scientific poster presentation. So you take all the stuff you've done so far, and you literally throw it onto a poster. Think little kid science fair, but like amped up quite a bit academically. And then you have to talk about it, and people ask questions, and you have to be able to field those questions. So you really got to be on your mark with that stuff. And then they were really understanding, a deeper understanding of the local fauna and flora, especially the flora, by working with some of these species. So this is just an example of one group. So they came up with the idea to do soil horizons. How can the amount of topsoil actually affect how fast plants can grow, how much root growth they have? So they came up with the idea, they picked the species, so all these plants that you're seeing growing in the picture are native species to Illinois from the area and are represented in our prairie. And then they took shims, they came up with the idea of door shims or construction shims to provide the plants or the soils getting to the same height of light, but then they changed how much soil was there, and then they presented, so this is them presenting their poster presentation. So we bring in scientists, so this is a scientist from the Morton Arboretum, and then administrators from the school and other teachers, and the kids have to speak scientifically, but also in layman's terms, right? Because you have some administrators that have no understanding about science, right? So they have to be able to really understand their experiment. They listen to them, they grade them, and they ask questions of it. And it's really kind of a fun day, but that's the end of that project, and this is the group that this is impacting, at least for this year. So they really enjoy that process, and we're asking if they could do something like this the second half of the year, and I said no. But anyway, tangential benefits, right? Always with projects like this, there's got to be other things that spin out of it. So Dr. Andrew Hipp and I are working on a paper right now that's hopefully going to be published in a journal called The American Biology Teacher, with the aim that showing other schools that you can do something like this too, and the benefits of that. Here at the Township, Karen Spencer and I have been talking about giving seniors in the area a walk and talk. So our kids would be explaining to the seniors what's going on out there, showing them the plants, and just, getting them kind of connection to a different generation, which would be really cool. Thought process eventually is to create what is called like I don't know if you're familiar with an herbarium. It's like a zoo, but for plants. So that is teeth and claws, but to have, for the public to see, like this pot right here, these are all purple flowers. Here's a little tag, it's called purple coneflower. Find it in the prairie, right? Here's sawtooth sunflower. Here's, right, so along the fringes of the prairie, then we would have these identification markers that the public can then look at, and the kids look at in the prairie and make like a living, like ID book type of deal. That's kind of the thought process with that. And we're doing so well with the prairie that, I don't know if you know, you can harvest during the fall and give away seeds or give away plants. So we're hoping that we can just kind of increase the love of plants to the community and to their families. And as I kind of alluded to, we're hoping to bring Herrick Middle School into the fold too, where our students would be the teachers to those kids, because if you don't know, you learn a lot more by actually teaching something than just listening to something. So that's been, it's been monumental, and all I have to say is thanks. This has been really cool and amazing, and I think it's going to grow a lot. I mean, these are pictures literally taken this fall in the prairie that's right out there. Right? We're already seeing massive impacts from just a bluegrass front, low amount of soil, a lot of clay, producing some amazing benefits to our environment. So, got any questions? I'd love to field
I do, of
Sure.
course. I always have questions.
No, yeah, shoot, that's what I like to hear.
So obviously AP means they're getting college credit.
So I don't, do you understand how that, like
Well,
so I train them for a test.
Right. So if you're taking an advanced placement course in biology, you're earning college credit towards, college credit.
Yes.
If they go into it
And they pass the test.
and they pass the test. So do you track, my question is, do you track the kids when they go into college? How many kids go into college? And
That's really hard to do.
Yeah.
It's more or less email, like, hey, Mr. Grant,
Okay.
just want to let you know, what you taught us was the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Right. So other than that, I don't know how much the district can keep grips on that without parents allowing for that tracking process to continue.
Right.
I get surveys every semester, and then in the second semester I give them twice about how are things transitioning in your head about what you're going to do for your future. Obviously, AP Bio is a selected class, so
Right.
kids choose to be there for one reason or another. A, they're trying to get out of the bio, which is kind of weird, right? Because you could take that test and then you never have to take bio again because you got your gen ed for bio. And then you could take the class because you really like bio and you want to take more of it, so you're trying to prep yourself for something in the future. The majority of the kids are the latter, not the former.
But that was my next question. Do some of the kids take it because they think it's a little bit of a blow-off course, and then they get into it and they find out, hey, this is really hard?
Yeah, I think that happens more with the younger kids that are seeing this, like, this is kind of cool, I like this, right? My previous experience with science wasn't so good. I don't know if I would never say that they got in my class because it's a blow-off class, but maybe they did. I think regardless, their eyes get opened a heck of a lot about what real science is. And they don't realize, especially the connections we've made with other scientists, that it's not, A plus B equals C. That's not how real science works. And this experience gives them that kind of feel that it's not going to be all comfortable all the time, and that's okay.
So my last question
Sure, yeah.
is, if you're going to Herrick Middle School, it's kind of a way to almost like a mini recruitment,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Trying to get the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders
You're
interested in
thinking
this.
like me.
Yeah, of course. So why not go to all the other feeder schools
Sure.
to the north?
For sure. I think that would be the future thought process. I was just thinking walking distance.
Oh, that's the closest school.
Yeah, that's the middle school right there. So that's the only reason I said Herrick.
Yeah.
Because I know one of the teachers over there went to school. I went to Downers Grove North. I'm a graduate. And she is a Downers Grove North graduate. She's my same age. She teaches at junior high. I teach at the high school. It'd be an easy transition to just bring another generation into the fold.
Right. You don't need 20 kids, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders
Right.
to participate. You need 5.
Right.
So if you get 5 that are really interested, they'll find a way to get here.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Especially today.
The biggest thing is, obviously time, transportation, because all that plays a part. The fact that we now have like a block schedule, a modified block schedule at North, it makes it easy for us to walk over and use a whole 50 minutes in the prairie. I don't know what theirs is. It's probably going to have to be, at least at the get-go, an after-school kind of enrichment program for them and our kids.
Right.
But that's the thought process, yeah.
Okay, that's all.
Oh, for sure.
That's all I can think of.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah.
How do we control the weeds where they don't overtake? Okay.
Me. Don't tell my wife, but it gets me away from her for a little bit.
Yeah,
It's
we're on-
being recorded!
Yeah, we're on Zoom.
It's okay.
The kids should be doing that.
Yeah, well, the hardest part is you have to train them to know what's a weed and what's not. Yeah, I don't want them removing something that was a plant that's beneficial. So we are doing some of that too, but at least for the get-go, I'm just trying to, and the cool part is, natives push out weeds fast. It doesn't take long. So if you're looking at the plots that we have plants in, just this summer from that one that you saw, right, that was getting planted here, right, you would think it'd be really quick for weeds to get in there. I didn't have to do much weeding at all, right? And there's a term in the science world called the edge effect, and that's where the most disturbed places will get the most weeds. Guess where all the weeds are? Right at the edge of the squares. Yeah, so that actually makes weeding pretty easy, and I can just kind of lay them hang over, and when they come by to mow, so I don't know if you know the perspective, but we left mowing / walking lanes so it's easy for the kids and the public to walk through. When they do the general landscaping of the property, got the weeds right too.
Have you had any damage so far?
Other than herbivory.
No, other than, well,
Yeah,
not
like-
animals, like
yeah,
kids,
no.
just animals.
I mean, we get trash in there, but that is blowing trash that happens all the time. Nothing malicious that I've noticed. Yeah. I don't think very many people like yank plants very often. I think it would be more, I say that tongue in cheek, hopefully that nobody does that too, but we haven't seen any effects, especially with it being open like that.
I just wondered, is the soil, is it topsoil that you're using? Because that usually tracks weeds. I was just curious.
Yeah, well, topsoil is a terminology for the soil that's at the top horizon. So you have topsoil, which is this area generally was fantastic, good, rich, black topsoil. Hence why we have so much corn and soy in this area, right? I mean, so we plowed up all the prairies and put corn and soil. That's the history of Illinois. Very little of the topsoil resides after buildings and other areas were there and then have transitioned back. We call it builder's loam. So it's like clay and concrete and stuff like that. That's really kind of gross. The cool part is nature always wins. So if you put plants there, some of these plants, they'll put tap roots down 12 feet. So they'll just pulverize anything that was bad and they'll swamp out because they have their own evolutionary pathway that they will outcompete weeds, because what you call weed, it's looking for an opportunity. And if there's nothing there, it's going to take that opportunity. If you have something that's like so there's compass plant, it's a really cool plant. I can go into all kinds of nerddom about compass plants. But compass plant has a natural defense mechanism that will thwart other species in its local vicinity, right, within a diameter to keep itself happy and its future generation. So if any weed comes in, like a dandelion or a curly dock, it's going to be able to push that out pretty quickly. Yeah. And the nice thing is, like I said, it'll completely change the soil for the benefit. So we talk about, it's been raining and cloudy. This is going to also help this area retain water better. Because if you have this much topsoil and this much clay, well, we make pots out of clay because it can hold water. Same thing happens. The water hits that, goes through that little bit of topsoil, collects, pools, and then just goes onto the streets and gutters and stuff, and doesn't get where it needs to be, which is down into the water table. So the more you have these kinds of plants, the better you get a trickle effect into the water table, as opposed to on roadways and stuff like that cause problems for people in general.
Very interesting.
Yeah, I could talk for hours if you want.
We only have till midnight.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Any other questions? Oh, thank you. I say this with all sincerity. Without the opportunity to work, we wouldn't have this. We are completely landlocked at Township North. I couldn't put a prairie on the roof if I tried, right? Because it's just too heavy. It's too much. So the fact that you're able to allow us to do this with our kids, thank you. Appreciate it.
Get to those middle schools.
That's the next thing, right? Once this is good and going,
Yeah.
that's the next thing.
Yeah.
I always like to say I'm trying to build an army of scientists. Change the world.
Get those middle school kids to pull the weeds.
Yeah, right?
Start there.
Hey, you shouldn't have put the glue underneath the
Yeah.
table. It's time to go pull some weeds.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, gang.
Thank you very much. We do really appreciate it. All right, next up is public comments, and residents may speak on township issues in general. Residents have the opportunity to speak during public comment. Comments are directed to the supervisor. We ask that comments be kept to 2 minutes and address Downers Grove Township issues. Please refrain from profanity and personal attacks directed at people, and please be respectful of all residents. We remind you that public comments are not a Q&A session. Thank you. And Carol?
Good evening. It's my understanding that the DuPage County Sheriff has indicated he will not enforce certain recently passed Illinois gun legislation. The same sheriff is responsible for law enforcement within the township, is my understanding. Will the township be requesting that the sheriff enforce the laws of Illinois within the township?
Next up is a motion to approve the minutes of the board meeting from December 15, 2022 as presented. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Any questions? Lorraine, would you call roll?
Trustee Ricordati.
Aye.
Trustee Oakram.
Aye.
Trustee Stoll.
Aye.
Supervisor Coltrane.
Aye. Motion passes. Next up is the motion to approve the trustee audit and approval of bills and claims as presented. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
And do I have any questions or any comments? Lorraine, would you call roll?
Trustee Ricordati.
Aye.
Trustee Oakram.
Aye.
Trustee Stoll.
Aye.
Supervisor Coltrane.
Aye. Motion passes. And going back to our budget and appropriation ordinance, I need a motion to approve the general fund budget and appropriation ordinance 2022-23 as presented. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
And do I hear a second?
Second.
Any questions? Lorraine, would you take roll?
Trustee Ricordati.
Aye.
Trustee Stoll.
Aye.
Trustee Oakram.
Aye.
Supervisor Coltrane.
Aye. And the motion passes. Next up is the supervisor's report, and I have kind of a longer one today than I have in the past, but I wanted to kind of talk about the programs that are being offered here in the coming month. I think they are very good, and I'm very happy with some of the topics that we have coming. Downers Grove Township is offering a variety of programs, educational seminars, and events to address the physical, cognitive, social, and emotional needs of older adults in our communities. Ranging from community dining, social events, and opportunities for learning, there is something for everybody. One that is very personal to me is the upcoming Caregiver Stress Busting class, which is running on Mondays from 10 o'clock until 11:30, starting this Monday and running through March 27th. This class is for family caregivers of a loved one with a chronic illness. Having gone through dementia with my mom and most recently my mother-in-law, I know firsthand how the stress it put on my wife. The class will teach stress management techniques and relation and coping strategies, and will give participants a chance to talk about their issues. We have several educational seminars for seniors on aging topics coming up. One of it is a lunch and learn seminar, which is next Thursday on positive aging, shift in your mindset. Aging is a journey inevitable for everyone, and how we choose to live today impacts how we live tomorrow. This seminar, you'll learn opportunities to enhance your mindset and outlook related to aging, the power of lifestyle choices, and how to be in the driver's seat of your aging journey, and ways to embrace this journey with an open-minded attitude. Complimentary lunch will be served, presented by Jacqueline Sander, Executive Director of Birch's Assisted Living and Memory Care. We also have a safety seminar with the DuPage County Sheriff's Office. We'll share information on crime prevention, home safety, internet safety, scams, identity theft, and personal safety. Learn strategies to keep you and your loved ones safe. That is on February 1st from 12:30 to 1:30. The following, on the 2nd, we have another seminar, Protecting Your Most Important Asset, Your Family. This informative seminar teaches you practical strategies for proactively protecting your family with a funeral pre-plan, extended care plan, and estate plan. An expert panel, including a CPA, state attorney, planning, and motel funeral home owner and funeral director will answer questions related to funeral planning process, cost, and options. Complimentary lunch will be served. We also have a senior survival skills seminar. We had seniors, that's always on the Thursday of our meeting, although next month it won't be because our meeting is a week later than normal. And this is called Don't Wait for the Crisis. And it's don't wait for a life-changing event or illness to learn about senior living options. Begin planning for your future in this informative seminar. Carrie Quinlan, senior living expert advisor, will clearly define levels of care, independent living, assisted living, skilled nursing, and memory care, and discuss topics including long-term care, pricing, how to identify your preferred location and budget for senior living, barriers that keep us from moving, and other senior resources. You don't want to miss this program. Also, a complimentary lunch will be served. This is sponsored by Friends for Downers Grove Township Seniors. And I know firsthand going through something like this, you don't really think about, your options. You don't think about, where am I going to put my loved one when they need the help? And to do it at the time they need the help is the wrong time to do it. Planning up front is really important. We have also senior living options February 9th. Are you confused by long-term senior options? You have questions about level of care, pricing, of course, is very important, and the amenities offered at retirement communities. Carrie Quinlan is here again. For senior living experts is here to help. She has done all the homework and research for you. We'll share details about the services and benefits working with a senior living advisor. Seminar will include how to talk to family members about making the transition to senior living and also discuss how the pandemic affected senior living. We hope you'll join us. Complimentary lunch is also served for that. As you can tell, February is kind of going to be our month for senior living, the advanced care of seniors and going into how you plan for the future. I think that's very important. We also have some things coming up for programs for the adult children. So a lot of these are for the seniors, but for about the adult children. And we are actually going to have one Thursday, February 9th at night here in the Township Center. It's Jane's Journey. We had that last fall too. Jane Sanchez is a former caregiver for her husband who has Alzheimer's disease. Jane's journey is her story about the steps she took to ensure good care for her husband, from securing their legal documents to in-home care, finding the right senior living for him when the time was right. And again, that's so important because you may think to yourself, oh, I'll just stay home with my loved one, but at some point you're going to need help, and you don't want to be thinking at that time, oh, I need help now, how do I do this? You need to plan all of that stuff. And finding the right place for senior living is also very important. I know, just having gone through that with my mother-in-law a few years back, it is a very difficult and stressful time for the entire family. And finally, we have a seminar for I Had No Idea. Are your loved ones aware of the information they need to care for you and manage your affairs should a life-changing event or illness occur? This informative seminar will help you prepare the future by sharing strategies for organizing your personal, legal, medical, and financial documents so they are easily available when you're needed. Connie Catalino, life transition specialist, will lead this dynamic, informative discussion about aging topics. Don't miss it. So it's important. I mean, when you think about it, your passwords for your bank account. How do you do that? Where are your bank accounts? Where's all your financial documents and things like that? So it's trying to get going for that. We also have some cognitive health programs coming up, starting a book club starting on February 15th. This is the first book club meeting. Downers Grove Public Library staff will be presenting seminars or summaries of several books, and the group will decide which one to read over the course of the next month. They meet again on March 15th to discuss the book. We have Puzzle Mania coming up, where teams will race against each other to complete a 300-piece puzzle. I will definitely stay away from that one. I cannot do well with puzzles. So teams may be made up of 2 to 4 people. First team to finish their puzzle will win a prize. Of course, we have game day every Tuesday. We're looking for groups to form bridge, poker, pinochle, canasta clubs as well. And let's see, physical and mental health. We started on Tuesday a 9-week course on the matter of balance, helping people to make sure that they won't fall. It's an 8-week class where we learn practical strategies for increasing balance, strength, and flexibility, and tips for reducing fall risk. That goes from January 17th to March 7th. That class is filled. We also have a waiting list of 12 to 15 people. There's 27 people in that class. We have a waiting list of 12 others for the next 10 that we offer that. So community dining, I've talked about that. It's every Tuesday and Wednesday. Seniors 60 or older can come. Meals are a suggested donation of $5. We have so many people coming and saying how happy they are that they can get together with friends, family. They're meeting new people. We continue to get emails and letters written to us from adult children of people saying how happy they are that their parents are able to meet new friends, especially after COVID. So we have quite a few other programs coming up. We are doing computer classes right now. We are doing a Chromebook workshop, and basically this is with People's Resource Center. They are given a free Chromebook, and the next day they are learning how to use that Chromebook. So there is a big digital divide between older people and being able to use their computers. We have a Windows fundamental class that's 7 weeks long that started on January 11th, and we'll have another one of those. So we have quite a few things. Creativity, we have art classes, we have a musical jam session. It's one Friday a month. The next one is Friday, February 10th. People just bring their instruments, they just come and play. They were playing Beatles songs the last time, so I know Dave would love to see that.
Maybe
So
there might be.
I didn't know about it until they were doing it.
Give me a microphone. Is there a microphone?
I didn't say there was singing.
Oh, well, I could sing anyway.
We have crafts coming up, cards. So, you know, we are using this township building like no other, like we haven't in the past. I think right now we have 2 days in February that don't have something on the books so far. We have bingo, of course, the second Wednesday of every month. We have a Valentine's Day luncheon coming up on February 14th. We have a spring social in April. Take me out to the ball game for all us Cubs fans, no White Sox. No. Baseball time is here again. It's just for fun, crosstown classic afternoon filled with baseball favorites. Wear your favorite team's favorite colors. Complimentary lunch that's also sponsored with the Downers Grove Park District. We have a theater outing. We're going to go to Drury Lane to see Grease on Wednesday, June 1st. And that's at Drury Lane. We have another one September 14th. We got things planned out for quite a while. Let's meet Jacqueline Kennedy. This was an interesting one. It's 1 year after her husband's assassination and the former First Lady, besieged by tourists and paparazzi, is struggling to cope as she attempts to determine her next step. She looks back on her life, sharing stories about how her marriage, her fight for privacy amidst intense media security, her work to restore the White House, and her attempts to showcase the arts.
Who's this one?
Historian and actress Leslie Goddard portrays Jackie.
Oh, she portrays
It's
Jackie.
like, oh, it's not a documentary, it's in the S.
Jackie Kennedy.
I thought it was a
Yes.
documentary.
No,
show.
but we have someone coming that's going to portray her, so.
That's good.
So there is a lot going on here at the Township Center. Very proud of the work we've been doing for it.
So I want to say one thing.
Yes.
So I don't like the whole mutual admiration society because I think it comes across as phony. But in the time we've been on the board, this year and a half, almost 2 years, you have done a great job here. The amount of programs that are offered today compared to 15, 18 months ago, I mean, it's night and day. There was nothing going on in this building. when we started, I had nothing to do with it, right? I don't know what they did, but I had nothing to do with it. So, I mean.
Well, I have to thank my staff for that.
Yeah.
Yes, Karen Spencer, who was in charge of
But
the
she's
senior
new.
program, she's new, right? But this is all, yes, this is why we built this building, this is why this is here, and this is what part of our mission is to help seniors.
To have 2 days that are vacant in the month of February, and it's January 18th or 19th, that's really bad.
Yeah.
That's really, that's.
It's so much.
That's good.
And, you know, we just started handing this out. This is our book that will list the programs. This is the January one. I believe there might be some over there. I think we may be out of them though. So if you can get on our email list, and we will gladly email these to you. I think we have over 900 people that we email these things to list all the senior programs. So yes, we are using this building to the best of our ability.
Yeah,
So,
that's great. Thank you.
I have two quick questions. So, you said in passing the Resource Center, you're giving them a Chromebook.
they are giving them a Chromebook, yes.
That's
How
overdone.
many of them?
So this is for seniors.
Yeah.
So anybody 60, I don't know if it's 60 or 65 or whatever, signs up for the class, they get a free phone. It's one per family, so a husband and wife comes, they only get one.
Did they get a Chromebook?
They get a Chromebook free.
But
Yes.
that was Wednesday.
But it's through PRC in Hinsdale.
It's through
Yeah, but
People's
so
Resource Center.
Who funded that? Is that
People's Resource Center.
But where did they get grants?
I don't.
They're
Yeah.
huge. They get grants, and they get people to donate. They're huge. They're a restaurant. They're huge.
Yeah, you and I went there.
Yeah.
We did a donation.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
That's nice. But it seems like it's.
And we are part of, as you heard me read all this stuff, we are partnering with a lot of people throughout we are partnering with the park districts, with the libraries, with People's Resource Center, with the community house in Hinsdale. We are getting together with them to see what programs, and I think a lot of this, COVID stopped programs throughout, the town, everywhere. And coming back, I know like the park district has had trouble starting their senior programs back up. So they have, we have worked with them to do things here or do things with them and to partner with them to get things done. That is, how, in a lot of part we are doing the senior programs. We are partnering with people to do these things. It's a lot of work to get everything done. And, I'm very proud of the staff that I have.
Wait
And the other-
till they all get Chromebooks, then you're gonna start emailing more people, and they need more magazines.
Well, actually, the more people we email, the less magazines to about it.
Oh, there you go. You can email the brochure.
Right, this gets emailed to them.
I need to take one of these. They're so much.
So you said you had 9 people you email. How many seniors are there in the township? Approximately.
Do not know.
So I was curious what our saturation.
It's getting bigger we had a program here today for Downers Grove, Friends for Downers Grove Township seniors. We had 25 people here, 30 people here. There were probably 8 or 9 new people that had not shown up to any of our previous events.
Do we have more capacity, more bandwidth?
Yes, we do.
So what are your thoughts on how are they going to get the word out? So I think 900 is a nice start, but I feel like the number might be like 90,000. I mean, we might be scratching the surface.
We're just scratching the surface. And a
Which
lot
is
of
okay,
it
because,
is,
you know,
a lot of
that's
it is
nice.
through social media. We have gone, we've started to hit social media. We have a Facebook page, and we're getting a lot of hits on that. So I think that's where a lot of people are hearing from. We're on Nextdoor, get a lot of comments from that. So, it's trying to get the word out. And, next month we're going to be looking at the budget, and to be honest, there's, my favorite movie is Field of Dreams, and they said build it and they will come. Well, they don't come here, we didn't build it, people are just coming. So there's a lot of advertising expense, there's a lot of expenses towards getting people to know about us and to know the different programs.
Well, to answer Mike's question, I think another one would be, we're not busy 8 hours a day here for 28 or 30 days. So there's room to grow the 900,
Right,
because it's a couple hours a day, I'm
Right.
guessing,
right.
right?
And when I say there's 2 days open, it's Monday through Friday. It's not, it includes Saturday and Sunday. So work days of the 20-some days in February during the week.
So of the 26 days of the 28, it's not 8 hours a day.
No,
It's 2 or 3 hours of it.
I mean, there are some days that we start here at 9 o'clock and we're not done until 4:30.
But the average day,
The average day is probably 3 hours probably.
so you could double it.
Yeah, I mean, you see within that 3 hours, if you have 25 people, you have 50 people.
What's the capacity here?
Capacity is 90. We had 60 in here for the Christmas program and it got pretty crowded.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, it's a
50 people
good
here.
crowd.
I would like to keep
50.
events at like
I would
between 40 and
appreciate
50 people.
You could have 50 in the morning, 50 in the afternoon, it's 100 a day times 30 days or 25 days, whatever it is. It's a lot of
Well,
people.
some programs are two-part, like 9 to 11, and then 1 to 3. You know what I mean? There's some programs that
Yeah.
have like 2 set. Yeah, I think it seems right now would be, and I don't think it's an emergency to get all these emails, because you're kind of working up to it.
Well, and yeah, and it's been a very interesting, process in trying to figure out how do we get people here, how do we get these programs mentioned, and.
It's growing fast in
Word of
2
mouth.
years somehow. Yeah, I think seniors
Word of
are
mouth.
big on word of mouth. They tell their friend who tells their friend who tells their friend. It's growing fast in less than 2 years.
Yeah, I think that's what I was getting at. I think, the first step was great. Right? You built all these programs and services, and you have stuff. But now we have the next phase. Looks like now we have to get people to come in and participate and take advantage of all the great things we put out there.
And I think the way we're doing it, they have programs that, it's not all, we have a lot of socialization. We have game day where there's quite a few people here playing board games and stuff like that, and they're having a great time. But there's also a lot of learning classes, a lot of, how, again, having gone through this with my mother-in-law, how do you pick a place to go, have them go with senior living? My mother-in-law needed memory care. Where do you find it? How do you find it? There's a lot of places out there, some are good, some are not. Some, so how do you find all of that stuff? So,
I think we just gotta get the word out and all those good things that happen. This is great. Well, very good. Off to a good run.
yep, so, I had other stuff for GA and stuff. I think I'm gonna hold that off till next week. If ever next month, if that's okay.
You've talked so much.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not done yet because we have the highway report coming up. Let's see, from Andy Anderson, past month highway department.
You don't have an assessor's report.
We do not have an assessor's report now. Sorry about that. In the past month, the highway department has been working on the following projects. Spent many hours plowing and salting Township roads at the end of December. Over the Christmas holidays, I called the crew out on 4 separate occasions. We've been out 2 other times, just to salt roads since then. Our tree crew has been busy trimming trees off of our work orders, as well as doing cutbacks in the right-of-ways along certain roads. Currently, we are cutting back our portion of the North I-55 frontage road between 79th Street and Clarendon Hills Road. We also removed a hornet's nest that was lodged in a large maple tree in Liberty Park. Our patch crew has been busy filling potholes with cold mix. The nice weather we've been having has allowed us to do quite a bit of patching this year. We had crews run their routes and pick up Christmas trees for recycling on rain days. This is something we have done every year since we started our brush pickup program back in the late 80s. We had our sign crew replace intersection and other signs that were in need of replacement in several different subdivisions, including Brook Ridge, the Downers Grove Gardens, 89th Street off Madison Street, Farmingdale South, and Pleasantdale subdivision. Crews also spent a couple days opening clogged basins before we experienced rain events and replacing sod damage by the snow plows during plowing. The warm weather gave us a window of time after rain, and the sod was flexible, so we set what we could back in the damaged areas. We kept track of the damaged areas and follow up with dirt and seed, and we'll follow up with dirt and seed in the spring And that is all I have with that. And do we have any new business to discuss? Or old business?
I did want to say one thing. Just with thoughts to, and I don't want to really do a give and take, but with thoughts to Carol's statement, I just felt like, that was not something that should be taken lightly. I just wanted you to know it's not really under the purview or the jurisdiction of this board that we don't govern that. But I don't want you to think we're not listening or paying attention because you did ask a question. But I would suggest you go to the DuPage County Board. There were some people there asking questions and making statements. That's where you really want to go. I think they meet on Tuesdays.
Tuesday mornings.
So that's where you want to go. This is not, we don't have anything to do with that. We're probably, maybe even this board maybe has different thoughts on that. I don't even know. But I don't want you to think we're not listening or paying attention. We are. But that's not what this board is governed or elected to do.
But you are, I think, paying them to do work in this township.
Well, we don't, and
But
we
I don't
don't.
Actually, we do not pay the.
No,
we
yeah.
do not pay the
Yeah, the sheriff's office. We don't denounce and we don't endorse anything like that, but I wanted you to know that we're not listening to it, it's just, that's not what this board does. So just so you know. I didn't want you to think we weren't listening or just not paying attention, so. That's all.
At the township level.
Yeah, that's not our, we have nothing to do with that. You never see a sheriff here, for something that we do. We don't tell him what to do or whoever it is. So it's a good thought. It's a timely thought. I mean, it's a hot topic right now.
All right, with that, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So, second.
Take roll or
Voice.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
I
Why is the meeting on the fourth
Meeting.
Thursdays?
So our next meeting is the fourth Thursday. It's our budget meeting, and that allows us to have 30 days to hang our budget
And the legal notice.
in the legal notice, which will be out early next week.
Does anybody need baby cars?
Dave loves it.
Like these